Hi, everybody. I want to jump on today because I had this funny experience this morning. I hate tasks that involve me doing something online that I don't know how to do, which is a lot of tasks online. So this morning I had to make a form, and I did all my prep work and I signed into the portal, and then I realized that I don't actually have access to the area of the site that I need to make a form, and I felt all of my energy for the day just drain out of me. And I just didn't know what to do. Um, that feeling is called powerless, right? I just felt powerless and it was terrible. We don't talk about it very much, but we should, because powerless is a huge feeling in both in workplaces and in our relationships and families. It's the feeling that you have when you're saying to yourself, this is out of my control, or there's nothing I can do, or it won't make any difference if I try. All those things, those are the words of powerlessness. I bet you can think of a few examples this week. Well, here's the problem. The feeling of powerlessness, when it's real, is that's a response to a life-threatening event. Okay, so if you are really genuinely in a place where you're powerless, your life is in danger, probably. Right? And actually, that's really important to talk about. Like, I feel like it's especially important to acknowledge today because it's Monday afternoon. Friday is when we all watched Tyree be brutally beaten and then killed by police officers, right? Like, we've just had that experience as a collective society. We watched that happen again. And so I want to be really clear. There are some times when people genuinely are powerless in situations of extreme abuse, violence, racism, homophobia, transphobia. Uh, those are horrific and terrible situations. And it's important to understand that when you are powerless, right? When you're handcuffed like he was, your life is in danger. It's a hugely traumatic event. And so your body, your system responds with the fight or flight response that it does in times of trauma. Now, that's important when you're in real danger. But in the rest of our lives, the vast majority of the time, we're not in that kind of situation. We're not in real danger when our teenagers won't listen to us, or when our spouses don't seem to take our ideas very seriously, or our boss doesn't follow through on commitments or do what they said they were going to do. That's not a life or death situation. We're not actually powerless in all of those day-to-day places, but we feel powerless. And then we experience the same kind of emotions. And what comes out of us, because powerless is so closely tied to a survival instinct, what comes raging up out of us is either this extreme over response of aggression, where we're going to try to get our power back any way we can, and we just blast other people in the meantime, or this like deep and like this shutting down and disengaging, and we back away, and that's the fight or the flight and freeze responses of trauma, right? We either have incredible aggression or this deep resignation and shutting down, and neither of those are helpful when our lives are not in danger. They're not helpful in our day-to-day life. And in fact, the cost of those two responses in your daily life, the time wasted either raging at people or disengaging, is so high. It's so high when it's not necessary, because there is always a choice you can make, right? Outside of those extreme situations where life is in danger. Otherwise, There is always a choice you can make. I'm going to date myself with a movie reference. There's a great movie from 1996, I think. Michelle Pfeiffer stars in it, called Dangerous Minds. An English teacher is teaching a special class in a school for a number of kids who are bused in from a much lower income part of town. And one of the kids has sort of expressed to the teacher, like, you don't know what it's like in my life. You don't come from my neighborhood. You don't know, you don't get bused here. And the teacher stands up and makes this speech back to the kids, and she just says, every single one of you, you choose to get on that bus every day. And a lot of kids make a different choice. They choose to go out and steal. They choose to do drugs. They choose not to get on that bus. It may not be a choice that you like, but it is a choice. There are no victims in this classroom. I think it's important to take that in when we feel powerless. It may not be a choice that you like, but it is a choice. And so when you feel powerless, instead of letting that feeling rob you, here's what you can do. Stop and name it. I feel powerless, and I remember that feeling is almost never true. I am not powerless in this moment. So first of all, stop and name it. Second, list all of your options. What are all your choices? Even if you don't like them, and pay attention to this. If your brain is trying to get you to leave some off the list, write that down too. Write it down not as a fact, but as an assumption. Here's what I mean. Instead of writing down, I can't talk to my partner because they won't listen anyway, that's phrased as a fact, write this down. I don't want to talk to my partner because I assume they won't listen. It gets the same idea across, but it frames it in a way that gives you agency. It gives you lots more options moving forward. So, name it. Remember, it's probably not true. Write down all your options. And then third, choose a path forward. Decision paralysis, or putting off choices until tomorrow or the next day, is just another way of staying in powerlessness longer. Because I don't know what to do is the same feeling as I'm powerless. So make a decision, choose a path forward, and take a first step. Don't give away your energy, your creativity, your potential to this thief of a feeling anymore. Name it, list your options, move forward, and let's see what happens. Thanks for being here.